Aloha, my name is Luann Pikett and you are in my kitchen. So today we are doing a baking live. Yay! So I'm going to make something brand new. This is a brand new recipe from Taste of Home called banana bars with cream cheese frosting. So it's kind of like a banana cake, only it's really thin and it's got cream cheese frosting. So we're going to try that. So let me flip this around here real quick. You saw my light bulb. That was exciting. Gotta have lighting. Extra lighting. Shows up. Okay, so here is my mixing bowl. So I'm going to start, and we are going to start with, now I'm making half of the recipe, but I'm going to reach at the whole recipe. So you're going to start with half a cup of butter softened in your bowl of your mixer. Now, I always use real butter. Margarine does not work very well with baking. You kind of get an unsure result. It's better to use real butter, and this is unsalted butter. If you have salted, you can still use salted. It won't hurt a bit. So I'm going to whip that butter a little bit. And then we're going to add the sugar, and we're going to add 1.5 cups of sugar. So let me get my sugar here. Did you know, I read this one time a while back, that if you buy sugar in the store, if you buy a generic brand and it just says sugar, that may actually be beet sugar, like B-E-E-T, made from beets, and it's not cane sugar. That if you want cane sugar, you've got to buy one that actually says cane sugar. And that if it is made from beets instead of cane, that it doesn't bake very well. So I always buy the name brand of sugar because it's the only ones that actually say cane sugar. Now, I don't know that I've ever noticed the difference in baking, but they say for baking you really want the cane sugar. Don't get the mystery sugar. So I always buy this. I hope it's not the name brand sugar companies that put that story out there. But I always do want the one that says cane sugar. So here we're going to mix those together. Cream the butter and sugar. Okay, so then we're going to add 2 eggs. Now I'm only doing half of this recipe, so I only have 1 egg, but you will put in 2 eggs. There we go. And that's a room temperature egg. I've had it sitting out for a while. They say it works better. It won't cause your butter to like re-chunk up. Okay, so there is that. Then we're going to add vanilla and sour cream. So I'm going to do a teaspoon of vanilla. Now I always use real vanilla. If you use the artificial vanilla, it's kind of bitter. I don't like the artificial at all. So I use real vanilla. If I accidentally put too much in, it's just that much better. At least that's true with vanilla. That might be not true with anything else. Then this recipe calls for sour cream. Now my sour cream is from the refrigerator. It hasn't been sitting out. So that one is still kind of chilled, but we can live with it. I'm just trying to scrape my beater here because it has some sugar granules on it. I'm trying to get that mixed in better. The bowl gets scraped with this beater, but the beater needs to be scraped. All right, there we go. Okay, so you're going to put in 1 cup of sour cream. Get that, and make the sour cream. Now this is full fat sour cream. I've not tried this with the low fat. It doesn't say. I always use the full fat sour cream. If you're going to put sour cream in it, you might as well put the good one in. Sour cream in a cake. I have a banana bread recipe too that has sour cream in it. Oh, it makes it so good and moist. It needs a little bit more than that. Hold on. Okay, trying to get it to the top of the cup here. Okay, so I'm going to take that, scrape that in. Try to get all of it out of there. That is going to make it so good and moist. Because this one actually doesn't have oil. It has butter. The ones with oil, the recipes with oil are always moist. Just putting that in the sink real quick. Okay, so let's mix that up some more. That looks good. Nice and creamy. We got a lump over here. Hold on. Let me de-lump it. Okay, that looks better. Oh, trying to get that in the right spot. Okay, so then you're going to add your flour, baking soda, and salt. So it's 2 cups of flour. Let me move this out of the way. I just ate, so I've got like old junky throat going on here. Had my dinner. I'm just scooping up. I'm loosening, stirring the flour a little bit so it's nice and not packed. So 2 cups, you will do 2 cups of flour. Now it says to pre-mix these, but I'm just dumping them in here. I think it'll be fine. I do this with other recipes. Teaspoon of baking soda. And I think the acid in the bananas will activate that. Or in the soda. Actually, it's the sour cream that does it. The sour cream. And then you want a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I just use regular table salt. Okay. And then, other than the bananas, that's all you need of everything else. So let's stir that in. Okay, now we have to put in the banana, and it says you're going to want about a 1/2 cup of butter, which, no, that's not butter. I'm reading the wrong thing. No, we already have a 1/2 cup of butter. You want a cup of medium ripe bananas mashed. So it says about 2 bananas. So let me get my measuring thing back here. Hold on. I had my sour cream in. Okay, so now let's do this. I'm going to turn this over here, and I'm going to, ooh, don't you dare fall. I'm going to get a little cutting board here. I'm going to mash the banana. I just got it wet because my hands are wet. Now, I got this banana in the store. Remember, you're going to use 2, but I'm doing half a recipe. Look at this. This is the biggest banana I think I've ever seen. Look, it just keeps on going. This is the longest, it's longer than both my hands, the longest banana I have ever seen. Okay, so I'm going to open up this banana. This is the ripest one they had in the store. So you can also, if your bananas start to get really ripe, you can freeze them and then use them right out of the freezer. They'll be kind of mushy, liquidy, but it enhances their sweetness. So you can do that. So I just take a fork and start mashing it. And I'm going to put it over here in my cup to try to get the right amount. My measuring cup. So this banana is so huge. Smells good. I love bananas. Let's keep on smashing. You could probably put this in a food processor or something. I don't. I just mash it with a fork. It's so easy. Say the riper, the better. They get sweeter the more ripe they are. Just using quite a bit of this banana. Oh, and it's actually got bad spots in the bottom. So it's a good thing we have extra. Smash it up, put it in my measurer. Okay, we're about there with the amount here. Yep, you can see where I'm measuring it. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty good. And look, I have like a bite left. No waste it. So I'm just rinsing off my cutting board because I'm going to use it again. Let it sit there and dry. Okay, now we're going to put this. It's just like making banana bread. It's going to be banana cake. We're going to put this in. Maybe. There it goes. And then we're going to mix that into the batter. And there you go. That's all there is to that. That looks pretty good. Now, it doesn't call for it, but I'll bet that would be good with some cinnamon in it. You want to try it with cinnamon, you go right ahead. Now, let me throw away my banana peel. Then we're going to put it in a pan. Now, this, because it's making bars that are skinny, it tells you to put it in a 10 by 15 pan. That is basically what people call like a baking sheet pan. It's not a sheet cake pan. It's that big flat, what some people think it's like a cookie sheet. And it will make a skinny bar, but I'm only making half the recipe, so I'm putting it in this smaller pan here. So what you would put it in normally would be this wide and double long. So it's like a long sheet cake pan with a little bit of an edge that high. But for half a recipe, you can't put that in there. But it should make like a skinny bar. And it says to grease your pan, so I'm going to just spray this pan. Now, I'm not going to take it out of the pan. If I was going to take it out of the pan, I'd put some parchment down. But I'm just going to leave it in the pan and ice it. It's easier. It's just easier to cut it in the pan. Otherwise, I have to find some kind of a plate to put that on. Those sprays always make me gag. The oil spray always makes me cough. And you can grease it with butter or shortening or something if you would rather. It's just so fast to do it with the spray. It's too tempting. Because you're done so fast. Okay, so I'm just getting my beater cleaned out here. So I'm going to take that batter and spread it in this pan. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? So it's a nice thick batter. Usually banana batter is thicker. I'll put that right down in there. Oh yeah. This is going to be so good. If you've ever had like a banana cake, you know what else banana cake is really good with that I haven't made it in a while, is peanut butter frosting. If you've ever had banana cake with peanut butter frosting, it's so good. I'll have to try that one time. I'm just going to make it like it says. I also like it with the cream cheese. But I don't know, since I'm going to give this to my mother, we're going to eat it after Sunday dinner. I don't know that she really likes peanut butter so much. She might would have eaten it, but I think she'll like this better. This is the recipe that calls for this. So that's pretty thin in there. So I'm going to put this now in a 350 degree oven. It says 20 to 25 minutes, and it says do not overbake. Test it with the tester. I think do not overbake should be the rule for all baking, don't you think so? Looks always don't overbake. All right, in we go. I'm going to set it for 20 minutes to check it. Oh, not 25. Set our timer. Then while that's cooking, I got a couple things I'm going to make. I do need to make the icing, but before I do that, the other thing I'm going to make is one of the recipes for the cucumbers that I made before. I made like a marinated cucumber on a live before, And I want to do that again because they were really good. Basically, it's like a cucumber salad. So if you don't want to go to all the trouble of lettuce and tomato and carrots and cucumber, just take you a cucumber and you can just have a cucumber salad. It's real cool and refreshing because it's still really hot here. It's a real good summer salad. So I like these cucumbers that are like the English cucumber. Sometimes they're called hothouse cucumbers too. But you don't have to peel these because this peeling is not tough at all. And it's pretty. It's pretty with the green. So I'm going to wash that. I'm going to get my cutting board back here again. And the other thing that goes in this salad is onion. Now, if you don't like onion, you could leave the onion out. But my mother, she loves onion. And I normally don't like raw onion, but I like it in this salad because it sort of absorbs the dressing, and it doesn't just taste like onion. It sort of loses some of its strength. The onion does. It kind of calms, the flavor calms down a little bit. So I actually like raw onion in this salad because you set it in the refrigerator overnight to absorb the dressing. So it really, the flavors all meld together. So the full-size salad, let me get my recipe out here. The full-size salad calls for 6 medium cucumbers. Well, this, I'm only doing a quarter of this amount because we don't need a whole lot of it. So I'm using, this is not a medium cucumber. This is a gigantic cucumber. If you're buying the other kind, they're smaller, they're shorter. So I am counting this as about a quarter of the recipe that I'm making. But normally you would make, I would say you need probably like 4 of those to make the whole recipe. And then you're going to have 1 medium onion. But I'm only going to use about a quarter of this onion because that's how much. I'm just making a little bit. And this is not really a medium onion either. To me, it's just a big onion. But you would cut up pretty much the whole onion if you were making this for a larger amount of people than just 2. Or if you want it, nobody else wants to eat it, just make it for you. But you know, you can always put the onion in for the flavor, and then if people want to pick out just the cucumbers and not eat the onion, let them do that. If you don't find that distressing. Let people pick out the part they like. So I'm just taking off this. See, it's kind of dried. Yeah, we're just getting rid of that. Okay, so then we're going to, now the good thing I like about this is you can just cut this in big chunks. This onion, you don't need little pieces. You want some big, nice, bite-sized pieces. So I'm just pulling it all apart. Cutting that in a couple pieces. This way also, it's easier for people to pick it out if they don't want it, because it's a big piece. So I'm putting it over here. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm making sure you can see my bowl. So this is just the bowl I'm going to mix it in. That is another dried piece on that onion I'm going to cut off. So, you know, you just want some bite-sized chunks. That's kind of what I do. Whatever you like. You know, the bigger you cut it, the faster you're done. Okay, still got a little bit of peel on here that's sneaking in there, I see. Let's just throw that piece away. It's stuck on there. Okay, there we go. Let's do a little bit more onion. Got another chunk down. That'll probably do it right there. Let's pull out these little ones. Whoop, and he'll jump right on the floor. All right, let me go wash that off. Hold on. Okay, we'll cut that in half. Just kind of cut it in pieces here. Take off these smaller ones. Cut up the bigger ones. Man, there is a piece of peeling stuck on my hand that keeps going back to the onion. I can't get it off my hand. Good grief, I really can't. Okay, let me use the knife. Okay, get it off. Because I keep seeing that same piece of little peel keeps going back and getting stuck on the onion again. And how annoying can we be here? So I'm taking off the ones that are already a little small. Then I'm going to cut these. Okay, so that's probably going to be good right there. And this is a recipe for a salad type thing. You really don't need to be that exact. So you can put as much or as little as you want of these ingredients. Only got 2. Hold on, I'm looking for a little bag here. I'm going to put the rest of my onion up. And I would imagine if you do want another vegetable in here, you could do that. And I'm sure it would still be good. Okay, so while that's happening, and that's sitting, our cake is baking. It's already been 5 minutes. Look at there. Seriously, there is onion peel. Onion peel that will not let go of me. It's more. Found more. I'm going to cut off these little ends. There's not much to these ends. Barely. And then I'm going to slice this. You can do it however you want. I kind of do it thin. Now, if you have a mandolin, you know what that is? One of those things you can just go like that, slice. That would be great. I might have one somewhere. I have no idea where. Probably one I've had for 30 years or something. I think it takes me longer to get that thing out and wash it than it does just to do this. So we get that started. Put that in. Pull them all apart. If I was doing a lot more than one, I could see getting that little gadget out. It's flatter on that side. Let's do that. Would be worth it. Like I said, I don't even know where that thing is. I think I have one. Pretty sure I did at one time. But this is called marinated cucumbers. It should be called marinated cucumbers and onions, but I didn't title it. Okay, there we go. Now, all you have to do is make a dressing for this, and I have 2 different recipes that I've used for this. One has mayonnaise and one does not, so it's just kind of up to you. If you would rather have the one that's a little creamier. This one, I'm doing the non-mayonnaise one, just because I did the mayonnaise one last time. So let's just do the other one today. I'm just separating all these. Okay, so what you want to do is take a jar with a lid. And the perfect thing to use for that, of course, is a mason jar. Mason jars are just wonderful little things. Okay, so there's a mason jar. And I don't need a big one because this is only a quarter of the recipe. So then I'm going to add in, so for the whole recipe, you will add in a cup of white vinegar. I'll just tell you the whole recipe. And you're going to put that in to your jar. So this is a vinaigrette, really, is what you're making, is a vinaigrette. But you soak it in it overnight, and it's so much better than if you just put it on at the last minute. It won't taste, you won't really even taste it. All right, so you're going to add that. Then you're going to have between 1/4 of a cup and 1/3 of a cup, I guess you get to decide, of white sugar. So it's a sweet vinaigrette, really good. Okay, let me find my other measure. There we go. I'm going to put your sugar in there. Then you're going to add 1/4 cup of olive oil. You could use whatever kind you want. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Hold on, I'm looking for my right measuring thing. Let's just use this. This is extra light tasting olive oil because I actually don't like olive oil. It's too strong for me. So if you get the extra light tasting, now it's not light as in light fat. It's just light tasting. So yeah, I get the light tasting one because I don't like it. Sorry. I know it's supposed to be good for you. That's probably why I don't like it. It's good for you. I usually don't like it. I try hard to find stuff I like that's good for you. Not always successful. But hey, it's still got to be better than other oil because it's olive oil. Then we're going to add a teaspoon of salt. And this is really easy because you just put it all in and shake it up. Teaspoon of salt. I think I'm going to add just a touch more salt. I like stuff salty. And then you're going to have a teaspoon of dried oregano. Now, last time I did this, I'm going to do it again. Rather than oregano by itself, I'm going to use Italian seasoning, which is a mix. It has oregano in it. It also has marjoram, thyme, rosemary, savory, sage, and oregano and basil. So it has all kind of stuff in there. So I think it just gives it that much more flavor. So let's do a teaspoon of oregano or Italian seasoning. These are dried herbs. Then you're going to add a half a teaspoon of garlic powder and a half a teaspoon of lemon pepper. Now I don't have lemon pepper, and so what I've done instead is instead of a half a teaspoon of each, I add 1 teaspoon of garlic pepper. So I get both the garlic and the pepper. I just don't have the lemon one, but this is good. So I would say the garlic pepper. But feel free to do the garlic by itself and the lemon, get the lemon pepper. I just don't have the lemon pepper. Alright, so then you're going to do a half a teaspoon of marjoram. Now that Italian had some marjoram in it, but I'm going to do some more marjoram. Okay, let me, oop. This isn't even open. Look at there. Look at there. Apparently it's new. Oh, there we go. Okay, so then we're going to do, where'd you go? There you are. Half a teaspoon of marjoram. And you're going to put in let me get it back out. Half a teaspoon of dried or ground mustard. Ground mustard. This mustard actually adds a lot of flavor. So in that goes. And that is it. I mean, that's it. We're done. So all you do is you shake it up, pour it on, you're done. This is a pretty quick and easy recipe, I think. I'll just put up my spices here. Okay, so I'm going to put on the lid. This is why you put on a good lid, and you shake it up. Look at there. Instant vinaigrette dressing. You want to make sure you get those spices shaken up pretty well. And now this one you want, like I said, you want this to sit overnight. So I'm just going to pour this over the cucumbers and the onions. Get that all in there. There you go. Then you just want to stir it. Now you can eat it now, but it will be a whole lot better tomorrow. So you kind of want it to sit overnight. I think it says at least 4 hours. Okay. So if you want this for dinner, you know, make it at lunchtime. You can have it for dinner. Or make it at breakfast time and you can have it for dinner. But you can taste test it. Just like that. The onions are just a little strong this raw. Well, the cucumber not. And it just really absorbs all that overnight. So I'm going to put that in a container with the lid. And let that sit in the refrigerator overnight. And probably, you know, go ahead and shake it around a little bit. Or you'll just have them real good at the bottom and not the top. So like in the morning, have it right side up, upside down, shake it around a little bit. It'll just be that much better. So I'm going to put that in there. Okay, now what I'm going to do, we have 6 minutes left on the cake. I'm going to go ahead and make the icing, even though we're not really ready for it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and make it. So the first thing I need to do real quick is wash my mixer. So hold on here while I wash my mixer. And make all the noise I can. So I'm washing my beater. What time is it anyway? Okay, we're doing pretty good. Now you are going to have to let the cake cool before you can ice it. But I'm going to show you a little trick as to how you can make the icing early and not have it dry out on you. Because, you know, if you make icing early, it'll start drying. Well, there's a trick that you can do to prevent that. I'll show you how to do that. You can just wait to make your icing when you're ready for it. But I figured I would just do all this on one video. Ooh, that is smelling good, that cake. It's too bad I can't get the smell to come across the video. But sorry, I can't. I'm just rinsing this out and making all kinds of racket. Okay, there we go. Now let me dry off the inside of my bowl. There's my bowl. There you go. And get my beater. If you have one of these KitchenAid mixers, you want to get this beater. I don't think KitchenAid has them. It's silicone sides. It scrapes the bowl for you. Oh, the best thing ever. I don't know why on earth KitchenAid didn't put those in there themselves. They have a metal one. You don't have to stop and scrape your bowl. It does it for you. Yeah, I want that. I just ordered this from like Amazon or something. It's a silicone beater for KitchenAid. And you have to make sure you get the one that fits your mixer. Easy peasy. Okay, so there we have that. Now for the icing, let me get back to that recipe. We are going to put in an 8-ounce package of cream cheese. Softened. So I've had that sitting out here for a while. If you don't let it soften, you know, it'll just be lumpy. Put that in there. Let me get out the extra. Put it all in. Oh, might go. There you go. Now I got it all over my hands. It's getting pretty dark outside already. You know, it's getting dark earlier and earlier now. Have you noticed that? It's getting dark earlier. Okay, so then we're going to put in a half a cup of butter, which is, you know, a stick of butter. Also softened, and this one's unsalted. If all you have is salted, it will work, but don't use margarine. It doesn't work very well. I don't like margarine, you can tell. Not a margarine fan. Okay, so then there's that. They say it's actually worse for you than real butter. Beat the cream cheese, butter, and vanilla. Okay, so the vanilla, we're going to have 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So this will have a lot of vanilla in it. Again, if you actually slosh more in, it's just that much better. Of vanilla, that's true of vanilla. Not necessarily true of the other ingredients. There you go. It's getting lightly browned on the top. It smells wonderful. You know, you could probably eat that without icing if you wanted to, too. Oh, hi, Heather. You like marinated? Oh, I haven't seen these comments. You reuse jars for everything. Oh, yeah. And I love mason jars, too. That's what that one was. And you love marinated cucumber. I know, they're so good. So good. It's, like I say, so much less work than making salad, but it's still really good for you. Okay, so that's butter, cream cheese, and vanilla. Then you're going to add your powdered sugar. So it tells you to add 3 3/4 to 4 cups. Okay, so the 3 3/4 cups, that's the amount. Oh, it's beeping. That's the amount in the, if you buy the box of powdered sugar. So basically, you just put it in the box. You know, the whole box, the pound box, that's 3 3/4. I measured it one time because I wanted to know how much it was. 3 3/4 cups is one of those boxes. And you might need another 1/4 of a cup if it's, like, not thick enough. But I am making half, so I've got to do a little less. But just pretend I'm putting in the whole box, because that's the right amount. I like the recipes that just say put in the whole box, because it's just so much easier. Just dump the box in. Okay. I'm going to make such a mess with this if I don't. Ooh, and I made a mess anyway. I thought if I used a spoon to dip it, I wouldn't make a mess. And I bumped the spoon. And I know you're not even watching me. Here we go. Here we go. This is why I like to just dump in the box. But I'm making half the recipe, so I can't dump in the box. Alright, there you go. See, I made a mess. Okay, let me check that cake. Scraping some of this off. Oops, I scraped too much off. There we go. I'm going to put this over here in my mixer. Let me check this cake. Here. There's where I'm going. Cake, cake, cake. All right. Let me turn off that beeper. Let's see what it looks like. Always interesting to try new recipes when you're not sure exactly how long it's going to take. Tester in the center. It feels like it's about done. No, it's not sinking in. I don't see anything coming out. I think it's done. You know, it kind of keeps cooking a little bit when you take it out. I think it's done. You notice I don't always trust my tester. I keep putting it, try again, try again, try again. Sometimes you hit a dry spot. So I like to test it a lot. Okay, I'd say that's done. So let's take this out. We're going to let it sit here and cool. Then we can turn off our oven. Hooray! For turning off the oven. Now, if you want to take it out of the pan, you know, you got to let it sit and cool for 10-15 minutes. Then you take it out of the pan. But I'm leaving it in the pan. It's much easier. There you go. Here is our little, either banana bars, if you want to call it. It said the recipe calls it banana bars. Banana cake / bars. And that's the half size. Okay, so then I'm going to finish with our, let's see what else, with our icing. 3/4 cup. Okay, I got to figure out what else I need for this half amount. This is that oil that I had in there? I think it was vinegar I had in there. Let me clean this out. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Let's go back to our mixer. There you go. Put in the rest of my powdered sugar. One more. Little one to get the right amount here. To mix it together. And then you're going to put it on your cooled cake. You don't want to put it on the hot cake or you know it's just going to melt. Turn it on low if you don't want a sugar shower. I don't want a sugar shower. Now, if you found this was too thick, I think you could add a little bit of milk to it. Or if it's too thin, put in some more powdered sugar. There we go. Now, let me show you my little trick. Because, you know, I'm not going to be able to use this icing right away because this cake is piping hot. So let me show you what do you do if you want to make your icing ahead, but you don't use it right away because, you know, it dries out. So here's what you do. You take your bowl that has the icing in it. Take off your beater. Take off the extra icing. Taste test it. That doesn't say that in the recipe. Should. Make sure it's good. Pretty good. Cream cheese icing is so good. So fattening too. That's why I can't eat very much of it. Okay. Here's how you keep it from drying out. Because you know, if you put it in a refrigerator, it's going to get thicker and you're not going to be able to spread it. So you got to keep it room temperature. But you don't want it to dry out. And it's exposed to the air, it's going to dry out. So you either take a dish towel, a clean dish towel, or some paper towels. I usually use paper towels just because they're here. And then you go take them to the sink and get them all wet. Or the dish towel, all wet. Then you're going to wring it out. It's easier to wring out paper towels. You're going to wring it out most of the way. You don't want it to be too dry, but you don't want it to drip at all. So here's my paper towels. I got all wet. Wrung most of it out, and then you're going to unfold it again. So you have pretty wet paper towels. And you're going to drape it over your pan. Now what that does, it keeps it from drying out. You don't have to touch the icing with it. I'm keeping my own little humidifier going on here. Now, the issue with this, especially with the paper towels, though, is that if you just leave it like this, by the time I wait an hour or something for this cake to be cool, these paper towels will dry out and no longer be holding moisture in there. So the trick is you can't let your paper towels dry out. Or your dishcloth. I don't think I've ever actually used a dishcloth. I've only used paper towels. But you can use a dishcloth if you want. Okay, so I'm just spreading this out. So then, to keep that from drying out, is you just take some plastic wrap, and I have a gnat that wants to eat it, but he can't get in. You want to cover your paper towels with the plastic wrap. So the plastic wrap will keep the paper towel from drying out, and the paper towel, staying wet, will keep your icing spreadable and moist, and it will not start to dry on top. Isn't that cool? Ah. Now, this is a really, really cool trick. If you're making little tea sandwiches, or any kind of, if you want to pre-make a sandwich, even if you're going to have sandwich for your lunch or your kids' lunch and you want to make them a sandwich, and you put it in there and you want to make it the day before, or even if you make it in the morning, you know, by lunchtime, the bread starts to dry out, take a damp paper towel, make your sandwich ahead of time, and as long as you don't make it with a filling that's going to make it soggy from the inside, that you might want to do the same day, but you can make a sandwich a day ahead this way. You really can. I've done it. Wrap the damp paper towel around the bread. Just make sure it's not dripping. And nope, it does not make the bread soggy, as long as you don't get the paper towel too wet. And then either put it in a Ziploc bag. I would put the sandwich in a Ziploc bag. Or wrap it in plastic wrap. When you open it the next day to eat it for your lunch, it will be just as fresh as if you had just made it. Or if you're making a tray of tea sandwiches. Have you ever had those little tea sandwiches and they're like dry and stale? It's because it's very hard to get them to not start to dry out, because they take so long to make. So if you put them on a tray, cover them with the damp paper towels, then cover the paper towels with the plastic wrap, you can make them the day ahead. You sure can. I have done it, and you take that damp paper towel off, they're just as moist as if you made it a minute ago. It's a really cool trick. I have been to tea rooms before that made sandwiches that I could tell they made them ahead, and they did not use the damp paper towel method because they were dry. This will work. It works for icing, and it works for bread. So there's my little trick for you. So then I will put a picture and the recipe for this in my comments. I'll put a picture of the finished cake as well once I get it iced. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Let's see, am I going to do a cooking live tomorrow? Well, I am cooking tomorrow. I'm making ham tetrazzini. I've done it on live before, but I guess I could do it again. I'll make that in the morning. Also put on my makeup, and tomorrow afternoon I will do my little ministry live as well. So, thank you. It looks good. Oh, let's see what else you said. Yeah, you never use margarine. Yep. Let's see, what did I miss here? You make powdered sugar with a coffee bean grinder. Oh, so you make your own powdered sugar. Of course, you don't grind beans with it. Yeah, no, you would have coffee sugar. That's all you would have, coffee flavored sugar. Okay. Looks good. Thank you. I'll bet it tastes great. Cream cheese. I know. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go, and thank you for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye.